All right, let me go over to YouTube here to make sure that I can see myself, because as you all know, StreamYard broadcasts to YouTube. All right, well, good morning, everyone. Well, whoever all chooses to watch this stream, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, my original channel. First of all, please like this stream or video if you're watching it on the playback. Please share and subscribe. I see a comment in here already. This is from CR Frank. He says, salute, Dr. Dunbar. All right, thank you for being here, CR Frank. I hope that this is going to be a short stream. It's just going to be me talking a little bit. No controversial topics. I think this one will fall more in the area of personal vlogging, blogging, YouTubing, business, and those kinds of things. So I think people who might be interested in starting their own channels might be interested in this as well. Some things happened over the last week that prompted me to do this stream, and I'll talk to you about that as this stream unfolds. I want to remind everybody, if you have, I have a blogging platform, and this is going to be an underlying theme of this stream. I just made a couple of rhymes there. That's my blogging platform there. If you have any YouTube related comments or suggestions or questions or ideas that you don't want to put in the public space, you can use that email address right there, bigdiscuss76@bigwordsofpowerful.com. I know that's a mouthful. I have a Big Words blog site Facebook page. That's my Twitter handle, and that's my Instagram. I've been getting quite a few followers on Instagram lately, which is cool, as I've been underutilizing that platform. Okay, guys, I'm gonna jump right in because I want to finish, and then I'm going to meet some people today to watch some NFL football. The Buffalo Bills are down in Miami to play the Dolphins, so I'm going to put my Buffalo Bills gear on, and then go. I'm going to go meet some peers to watch some of the NFL games today. And shout out to Kareem Henry. The Steelers did come in and beat us. The Steelers came in and beat the Buffalo Bills on week 1. I see Alonzo Hall, the all-star investor, there in the chat. Good morning, Alonzo. I hope to have Alonzo over at some point to talk to us about insurance. I think that as I go forward, some of us want to have more money in business discussions and discussions about building. And I think insurance is a good topic to cover, as not a lot of us know a lot about it. And I still, at this point, don't have a nice working understanding in my mind of the difference between whole life and term. So I think that will be fun for us to do at some point. But in this, I'm going to talk about the business of YouTubing, blogging, and those kinds of things. Speaking of which, I'm going to read something really short, since an underlying theme of this stream is going to be why I came to YouTube and how I came to YouTube. I'm going to say over and over and over again that I came as a writer and a blogger. I'm going to read something from my blog, which I think is pertinent to this entire thing. So let me enable the screen share, and I will get started. Guys, please hit the like. If you haven't, please subscribe. If you feel so inclined to make a donation this morning, if something I say grabs you, the super chat is live, and I'll put my PayPal and Cash App there in case you want to throw something in the collection plate, as Minister Jap says. Let's see, inside there. So I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to get into my little story. This is from my blogging platform, and it reads, how to nail your social media branding. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here as reading dries out your mouth. And this reads as follows. And this is a contributed post, guys. And again, one of the focuses going forward is to talk about money and how to, if you feel so inclined, go into business for yourself. I was able to start something around my writing. So this is a contributed post, which means that this was submitted by a collaborator / customer, and in the area of search engine optimization. But it reads as follows. 3 focuses of my blog are financial literacy / money, business / entrepreneurship, and technology. If you're in business, a key aspect of your marketing strategy today has to involve social media, as so many people are now plugged into it. The following contributed post is entitled, How to Nail Your Social Media Branding. And this was published on August 30th, 2020. So the reason that's significant is because we were, in the heart of the, I think I can say pandemic without getting this streamer video taken down, but we were in the heart of that. And I was still able to generate some profit through my blogging platform because it was digital, and my customer was still sending me content to publish, and I was still able to publish. I was still able to earn income while under unusual world conditions. That's the image right there. Building a brand for your business is one thing, but ensuring that your brand is relevant and carries over to your social media is another. Effective social media branding is an essential component of any digital marketing strategy and can be the difference between success and failure. If you're unsure how to build your social media brand, then here are some tips that you may find useful. Go back to basics and define your audience. Before you take a branding idea and run with it, it is crucial that you first take the time to thoroughly define your target audience. I'm going to come back to that. Defining your target audience on social media will allow you to create a brand identity that effectively resonates with the audience that you are trying to reach. When determining who your audience is, try not to cast your net too wide, as this can make it difficult to refine your branding and does not automatically ensure that you will capture your target customers. Don't feel as though you need to be on every social media network. As you begin to define your target audience, it may start to become clear that your audience is not present on all social media platforms. Rather than wasting time, money, and energy on creating a brand presence on platforms your target customers do not use, start by focusing on 1 or 2 platforms that they use on a regular basis. Facebook and Twitter are usually a great platform to start with, as is LinkedIn if you are B2B, and Instagram for B2C content. I'm not sure what those are, but you may also want to consider trying TikTok or YouTube, which can help you harness the power of video. Chief Rocka, thank you for the $10 super sticker. Much appreciated. So guys, remember that, focusing, harnessing the power of video. Create consistent, valuable content. Your social media content is a direct reflection of your brand and should be written and designed to reflect your tone of voice and company values. Not all of the things you post need to have a sales angle, but it is essential that everything you post provides your followers with value. To make sure that your content is well thought out and consistent, most businesses create a content strategy and try to avoid and try to build their content well in advance so that they can see how it sits together. As a general rule, for the maximum engagement, you should aim to make 1 Facebook post per day, 1 to 2 Instagram posts per day. Wow. 15 tweets, 1 LinkedIn post, and 1 TikTok post per day. I don't do that. Alon, okay. We have some words from the All-Star Advisor. Alonzo says B2B is business to business, B2C is business to customers. All right, we've got an exchange of information here. Thank you, Alonzo. Okay. And then finally, so I'll read that again. As a general rule, for the maximum engagement, you should aim to make 1 Facebook post per day, 1 to 2 Instagram posts, 15 tweets, 1 LinkedIn post, and 1 TikTok post per day. Wow. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Lastly, don't be afraid to reach out for help from a professional branding or social media agency. Creating an effective social media brand and an efficient strategy is time-consuming and complex, which simply makes it unsustainable for many businesses to take on in-house. I would agree with that. Do some research and get more information from some branding and social media agencies that cater to your sector to see if this is an avenue that is worth exploring. So there you have it. A few simple tips to help you nail your social media branding. Is your business on social media? Which social media networks do you use? All right. Well, hey, guys. That's that post. And YouTube itself is considered a social media platform. Speaking of which, let me take a look over at my YouTube feed to make sure this was not taken down. No, we're still here. Okay, good. Over on my science channel, a couple of months ago, I was doing a stream. I was midstream, and I was showing an infographic relating to cryptocurrency, and it was talking about a specific thing, and I think it triggered the community guidelines, and the algorithm or whoever is behind the scenes at Google watching our stuff considered what I was doing harmful, and I tried to post a link in the chat and it said error. And then when I went over to YouTube, the entire thing had shut down. And then when I went to my Gmail, I got an email from Google saying, hey, sorry, we took your stream down and we took your channel down for violating community guidelines. So whenever I show something, I have to go over to YouTube now just to check to make sure that they haven't snatched me down. So if you're an aspiring YouTube content creator, just be mindful of that. But going back to social media, if you look at this post right here, I have, for every post on this platform, on my blogging platform, I've enabled 8 social media sharing buttons, and I only use 4 at most. So I have not mastered using Reddit. I have not mastered. I have TikTok on my phone. I don't even use TikTok. I don't know how to use it. All that takes time. When you create some sort of content, whether it's written or video, I think YouTube is kind of self-explanatory because you create the content here, and assuming you've built your audience is going to consume it to some degree. And if you set your tags up, new people will find it. But a major part of being a content creator is getting your content out. And after blogging for 4 to 5 years and YouTubing for 2 to 3 years, a major challenge is getting it out so that as many eyeballs can see it as possible. But I just want to start with that, guys. This week, the reason I wanted to do this stream, this week, I got, well, maybe it was a week or so ago, I was in contact with another content creator, a much larger YouTube content creator than me, someone I highly respect, and someone who I purchased one of their books. I won't say the person's name. They will remain anonymous, and there's a reason they will remain anonymous, because I don't want to burn any bridges. But the point is, this person took an interest in me over on Twitter, and he took a look. This person is much bigger than me, very experienced, not just in writing and YouTubing, but also many of the technologies associated with social media and SEO. And he took a look at my entire operation, and he basically asked, why do you have 4 channels? And he said, this is confusing. And he said, you should consolidate back down to 1 channel. And I kind of said, I said to myself, okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. I'll think about it, and I will decide how to proceed forward in the most appropriate way for my goals and for what it is I'm looking to accomplish. And so one of the, since we're talking about business, one of the keys to business and to be successful at anything, Robert Kiyosaki in Rich Dad Poor Dad actually talked about being able to take feedback. Unsolicited feedback sometimes is infuriating. He wrote that in his book, but he said, as a business owner and as someone trying to build an enterprise and trying to maintain what it is you built, it's important to take feedback. So I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Should I have 4 channels? Why do I have 4 channels? Is this a good idea? Am I just spinning my wheels? And so it's also good when you're given advice and you're confronted with a piece of information. It's also good to get a second opinion. And so what I did, it just so happened that on Wednesday night, I had an interview with the field master, Uncle Ron Wills. And if you haven't watched that discussion, it's a 2-hour long discussion. I would I recommend that you go back and watch that discussion. And me and Ron were emailing before that discussion, and I said, hey, Ron, I was confronted, or someone made this recommendation to me that I have too many channels and that I should consolidate back down to 1 channel. And Ron said, no, stay true to your vision. Think about why you're doing this. Think about why you have the channels. And if it's in line with your vision, stick to your vision. So with that, I've decided to stick with my vision. There is a reason that I went from 1 channel to 4. And at least going forward for now, I'm going to stick with the 4. And I'm going to talk about why I'm going to stick with the 4. So taking feedback is both a blessing and a curse. Since I've been YouTubing, I've gotten a lot of feedback. When you become a YouTube content creator, you're going to get feedback. You're going to get people telling you what they think you should do. They're going to tell you your camera angle is wrong. They're going to tell you you should get a better mic. They're going to tell you you should get a better camera. People will tell you your videos are too long. They'll tell you your jokes are not funny. You curse too much. Any number of things. When you set out and put yourself out there, you better be ready to get feedback. Me and my brother, we've gone back and forth over some things. My brother has taught me how to create good content, how to edit, how to use Filmora Wondershare. But I've also gotten comments from other people. By the way, this is the shirt that I wore in my very first video, my first 2 videos. And I'm realizing that every couple of months I do stop and talk about, I do kind of a lessons learned thing. And the fact that I got those two pieces of advice this week, I thought the first piece of advice about consolidating back down to one channel, I thought that was that's content right there. So a blessing and a curse for me is that I listen. But again, when someone tells you something, it's good to get another piece, a second opinion. So why did I initially come to YouTube? Well, you saw it right there in the opening when I read that blog post for you. I came initially as a writer, and I just showed you a picture of Ram Wills. Ram, I believe, was a writer first, and then he started YouTubing. And Obsidian, those of you who know who Mamiya Obsidian Ali is, Mamiya came to YouTube as a writer first, and then he started YouTubing. So I very much followed the trajectories of Ram Wills and Obsidian. But what was I writing about before I came here to YouTube? What brought me here? Well, I'll show you what brought me here initially and what I was writing about. So I'm going to go back to my blogging platform, and I'm going to show you the front page of it. We're just going to go piece by piece here. That's my blogging platform, the Big Words blog site. And that's where the name Big Discussions comes from. That's an offshoot of Big Words. So the title on the cover page of my blog is Creating Ecosystems of Success, Money, Science, Technology, and Other Discussions. So on my blogging platform, I had a broad range of discussion topics. And this was before I started getting the guest content from customers / collaborators. So I was telling personal stories. I was writing about sports. You'll find Michigan football content on there. I was writing about science. Okay. I was writing about money. Okay. Me and my brother even did some movie reviews. You'll find some reviews of Star Wars Rogue One. You'll find some reviews of the Avengers, Thor Ragnarok. You'll see all that on there. You'll see interviews with Hilt Harper. You'll see interviews with Dr. Vernon Morris, who I just interviewed on my science channel yesterday. You'll see all kinds of things, discussions about pharmacology and toxicology. And so I realized yesterday that the discussion topics on my blogging platform were broad. And my first year of YouTubing, you'll see all kinds of content my first year of YouTubing. And I kind of shudder to look at my first videos, because I know my first videos were rough. I know I didn't look comfortable on camera. And I didn't look natural. I had a, maybe the camera angle wasn't optimal, but I'm saying that to say that I had a lot of things to say. I had a lot of things to write about as a blogger. And I think my YouTube content has been an extension of that. Now, what started me blogging? What started me blogging was my book project, which I've recently made public over on my second blogging platform. This is my second blogging platform, Big Words Authors. And my book project is entitled The Engineers, A Western New York Basketball Story. I'm not going to get into all of that right now. And I'm figuring out how to start talking about this or should I say I'm figuring out the best way to start talking about this on YouTube. But this is the genesis of everything. I had this book project. I had this idea for years and years. I hit a season of my life around 2012 or 2013 where I started working on the book, but a transition needed to be made from sitting in a cubicle, registering chemicals, to becoming a writer and an author. Okay. And if you look at the quote on this platform, it says to become a writer, you have to read a lot and you have to write a lot. Okay. That was told to me by an author named Gerald Early, who was a professor at the Washington University in St. Louis. Hello, Chris. Once again, thank you for being here. It's always good to see you show up. Thank you for the donation yesterday over on my science channel. But this is how it all got started. This is why I came to YouTube. Being a writer, needing to make a transition from being an employee, sitting in a cube, working on chemicals, and then making a transition to being an author. So I needed to show that I could write. So I started writing for examiner.com. That closed down. I started my own blogging platform, and I started writing there. And then I said, okay, well, maybe I should go over to video to start to continue to build an audience there. And I've said on numerous occasions that this was recommended in Blogging for Dummies. I'd been watching YouTube for several years before I actually started creating content myself. I started watching Tommy, and then I discovered BGS, and then I discovered Ron Wills and those kinds of things. And even before I got introduced, quote unquote, to the space, I was creating content. But it wasn't until I got shepherded in by BGS that my subscribership really started to grow. But if you look at my whole first year of YouTubing, again, the quality wasn't stellar. The lighting, the angles, none of that was optimized. And the topics were jumping around, and sometimes I talk about my blogging stuff. Sometimes I talk about money. Sometimes I talk about the Avengers. Once the 2019 Michigan football season started, I started creating content on that. And I realized, okay, people are finding this. Somehow people on YouTube are finding this, and these videos are doing really well. Some content was on current events involving Donald Trump. Some of it was involving, I know one video involved the late Representative Elijah Cummings and what it's actually like in Baltimore. One video involved that. One video involved what it was like being a federal employee. That video is still doing pretty well. People are still watching that. Some videos talked about science. In some videos, I went ahead and started rambling about pharmacology and toxicology. And then at the end of that first year, that's when I had the light bulb moment. Boom. You know what? I'm talking about multiple things on this channel. Maybe I should split it off and create multiple channels for these multiple content areas. Good morning, Wayman Brown. We have another Buffalonian here. Go McKinley Max. So that's how I got to having multiple channels. I realized, okay, I'm talking about multiple things. Shout out to Officer Charles Faulkner. I'm a multifaceted man. I have multiple things to say. So it doesn't make sense to talk about all these things in one channel when I can split the channels off and create multiple audiences. And plus, what I've realized about YouTube is that each channel, if you grow it, if you get your subscribership to 1,000, if you develop a pool of people who actually like you, each of these channels is a little monetary engine that will produce income. So there were financial considerations as well. And I also created a video, guys. I'm going to share this. One of my inspirations was this guy, Bruce Williams. I used to listen to this guy on AM radio in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He's probably passed on at this point, but his talk show was, it encompassed numerous things. And I called his talk show a couple of times. He talked about politics. He talked about money. He talked about current events. He talked about all kinds of things. So that's how my channel started. That's who I am. I'm not just one thing. You know, I'm not just going to talk about, I think about other things besides men's issues and dating and those kinds of things. And so I have multiple topic areas and multiple, I think I have value to add in multiple areas. Wayman Brown, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, doing some blog writing myself this afternoon. Yeah, Wayman, it looks like a lot of us are bloggers. A lot of us are writers. If you ever want to, I don't know which platform you're using, but if you ever want to collaborate on something, let me know. I started, speaking of which, I started Big Words Authors, not just for myself, but for other aspiring writers, because when I started writing, I didn't know where to go to start to create my online presence. So I started with examiner.com. But if you're out there and you're an aspiring writer and you have something that you want to start to get out there, if you want to start to make your online presence known as a writer, I set this platform up not just for myself, but I set it up for other writers as well. So my contact information is on the site. You can get to that through the link to my book project, which is below this stream as well. Okay, so I don't want to prolong this forever. So the whole first year, BGS says this lots of times online. If you're listening, he says that becoming a YouTuber, you have to decide whether or not you just want to create content. You have to decide what you want to talk about. And he says you have to find your voice. What are you going to talk about? And so for me personally, again, I came here as a writer looking to build an audience. And then I realized that I had multiple things to say. And BGS took an interest in me, I think, at first when he got doxxed. I think I made a video talking about being doxxed and what doxing is. And I showed it to him. I sent it to his inbox on Twitter. And I think that's how he realized who I was. And I think that's how he took an interest in me. And I think that's how he kind of shepherded me into the group. And I think the other thing was my science background, because once I split off into multiple channels and I made my science and technology channel, it just happened to coincide with the pandemic, or the world event, as I call it. And I started creating content on the pandemic. And that's when BGS said, you know what? You said this, Nicole says this. Those of you who are over on that channel, you know who Nicole is. I'm going to hook you and Nicole up. And so that's when I really got shepherded into the group. And then I realized, should I say the group or should I say the manosphere? And that's when I started getting in on these discussions. And that's when I realized, okay, I came here for this purpose over here, but I have some things to say about what these guys are talking about. So there are things that in the manosphere, there are things that I've experienced, and there are things that I thought that I could add to those discussions. And that's when I started using StreamYard like this here. And that's when I started participating in Roger's streams. That's when I started participating in BGS's streams. I still remember the first stream I went up into, the first one of BGS's streams. I still remember it was nighttime. I didn't know how to use the software, but I used it. And then I realized, okay, I can do this too. But that's when I started participating in the space, the sphere, and that's when I started hosting some of the talks over here. And if you notice, most of my content, and I say this on the trailer on this channel, I'm a writer, scientist, thinker, storyteller, aspiring author, aspiring speaker, storyteller, 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 storyteller. Whenever I've hosted a panel over here, I've started with a opening monologue, which is usually involved a question, and it's usually involved some form of storytelling, because that's my thing. I'm a storyteller. Now, where the stream goes after I open it up and let all the other guys in, you guys know what happens when that has happened. And going forward, I've said this, that with my face being here and my name being here, I'm not saying I'm not going to host panels anymore, but I think that with me showing my face like this and my name, I think that going forward, I need to be mindful of where the discussions go and what's being said here on the platform. I'm not saying the discussions aren't worthwhile. I'm not saying the discussions aren't true. The information being shared isn't true. I know that it's shocking to people who've never heard it. I'm just saying that for me personally, as a aspiring author showing my face and my name, I need to be mindful of what's said here, and where the conversations go. So I'm keeping a close eye on that going forward. So 4 channels. Corrine just showed up. Corrine, this is just more of a thank you for coming. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for being late. My schedule is off, so it's so off doing this extra job. Yeah, Corrine, this is just a bit of a personal vlog and a personal ramble. Speaking of which, guys, I'm going to end this soon. I've talked about it, blogging for dummies. This is where I got the idea in part to come to YouTube. There are chapters in here about podcasting. There are chapters in here about vlogging. So, and I read something interesting, and then I'm going to show my 4 channels, and then I'm going to wrap up. This is under vlogging, and this drives home what I talked about earlier. This is entitled Determining Whether You Should Vlog. I'm going to read this verbatim. Before you dive into vlogging, take some time to consider your overall goals for your blog and building your online presence. Vloggers are exposed in ways that bloggers aren't, simply because they appear on camera for the world to see and judge. You need to have thick skin to be a blogger, and even thicker skin to be a vlogger, because negative comments are inevitable. However, vlogging can also help you build your online presence and brand in ways that blogging alone can't. Again, your long-term online goals are an important factor in determining whether you should vlog. I'll throw in podcast as well. I'm sure there's a subtle difference between podcasting and vlogging, but for the sake of this stream, I'm going to use them synonymously. Okay, 4 channels. I'm going to stick with the 4 for now, even though I was advised by one content creator to just consolidate back down to 1. And I'm going to just go over the logic for doing that. Let me see if I have the slide queued up. And then I'm going to wrap this up because I'm going to meet some peers to watch the Buffalo Bills, to watch NFL football today, later on. So Big Discussion 76, this is my original channel. Now this is dedicated to general topics, thoughts of the day, money, business, current events, those kinds of things, discussions with other people, general discussions, depending upon what the topic is. The other thing I realized, guys, is that the person who gave me the advice to consolidate back down to 1 channel is not from the sphere. And I realized that the sphere, the Black Manosphere, the space, whatever you want to call it, it's a very unique space. We have unique topics and issues that we're dealing with within the ADOS tribe, and it's a unique space, and it's a unique, it's its own sector of people. So someone from another space might not understand why, for example, Roger talks about the things he talks about every day. Someone from another space might not understand why Edward Anderson or BGS or Art of Ibmore, why those guys talk about what they talk about every day. Someone from another space, someone who's not familiar with these discussions, might not understand why Charles and Cerulean created the Gray Faulkner Initiative. So I realized when that person gave me this advice that there are unique things, unique aspects to being Black in America, and there are unique aspects to our community that people from other ethnicities might not understand. So that's this channel. There's also Big Discussions 76 Sports. Some of you have come over there, and I appreciate that. And Ron Wills mentioned this, that when you start multiple channels, you're going to form different crowds, or you may form different crowds in each channel. In Big Discussions 76 Sports, that is a separate crowd than the Manosphere. That is not a Manosphere crowd, even though sometimes some of you come over there. That is primarily a Michigan football crowd. That is I haven't gotten basketball to pop over there yet, but that's a specific and unique audience. They're interested primarily in sports. They don't donate as much. I've noticed that. I've noticed that this crowd over here, they donate more. The crowd over here is a little bit more engaging, but that crowd over there, they don't donate as much. And I think it's just a unique crowd. Every audience is different. But that channel, again, I'm going to bring this back up to show you guys one of the reasons I need to slow down. One of the reasons I thought it was necessary to create that channel is because my book is a sports book. It's about sports. It's not entirely about sports, but it's based in sports. It's based in learning how to play basketball and having that goal. So in my mind, it made sense to create a channel based solely on sports. There needs to be a population. There needs to be a subscriber base that sees me talking about sports and appreciates what I have to say about athletics and those kinds of things. So that's another reason why I created that channel, in addition to being a Michigan alumnus who's passionate about Michigan football. In addition to science and money and issues in the ADOS tribe, I think about sports all the time. I can't play much anymore, but I think about sports all the time. So there were reasons for starting that channel. There were multiple reasons for starting that channel. Big Discussions. Oh, that's the wrong slide. Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. I've mentioned this, and BGS has mentioned this, that might be my most important channel because I am a Black STEM professional. I'm a Black male STEM professional, and there aren't a lot of us. Yesterday, I hosted Dr. Vernon Morris, and he's another Black male STEM professional in another STEM field, but we need to be visible, and we need to be as visible as possible for the generations coming after us. There aren't a lot of images of us in pop culture. And even, and me and Dr. Morris talked about this, even at things like the Congressional Black Caucus annual legislative conference, even when they hold STEM advocacy panels, they don't always have Black scientists, actual Black scientists up there on the podium talking. They have, well, I'll just leave it there. But they don't have us, the actual people who've done the research, the people who've done the experiments, the people writing the grants, the people who are speaking the language out there on the front lines, even within our own community. They don't have us there on the front lines. So I, in large part, started that channel because I think about science, I work in science, but also there needs to be more visibility for people like me. And at some point, yeah, I'd like to get out and speak and talk about coming from the east side of Buffalo, because inanimate objects can't have ownership. My mother has told me about that in my writings numerous times. Somewhere in my mind, I can imagine getting out and speaking to young people in multiple cities about how I came from the east side of Buffalo and went to the University of Michigan, went to Johnson C. Smith University, and started a STEM career because we're underrepresented in those fields. And technology is just expanding as we go forward, and people who don't have training in those fields are going to get left behind, and we are underrepresented in those fields. So that's the logic for that channel. And then the last channel, my smallest channel, which is my entertainment and media channel, once again, on my blogging platform, I wrote about, me and my brother did reviews on Star Wars and the Thor and the Hulk and those kinds of things. So I am a bit of a fanboy myself. So I'm always thinking about superheroes and Star Trek. You know, when you don't see me on camera, I'm always thinking about those things. Last night I was watching season 2 of Wu-Tang and American Saga. I'm going to do a review of the first 4 episodes on that channel tomorrow. So, and also I'm going to show this again. I've reviewed literature on that channel as well. And working on a book project myself, I thought it was necessary to set up a channel like that. So guys, that's what I wanted to say. And I think that's all I have here on my notes. This was a bit of a ramble. This was kind of all over the place. I acknowledge that. And I understand that. And I appreciate the people who stayed in here and listened to me for a little while. I don't know who all else is on right now, but I just wanted to talk about the advice I was given earlier this week to consolidate back down to one channel because having 4 was confusing. And I wanted to talk about the advice that Ron Wills gave me to stay the course and stick with your vision. You know, you have to, I agree with that. You have to stick with your vision. You have to think about why you're doing what you're doing. And you have to think about what your ultimate goal is and what your goal was starting out. And for anyone out there who's watching, who wants to become a YouTube content creator and get into the business of YouTubing, you're going to get comments on everything. You're going to get feedback and you're going to get criticism. And as it says in this book here, you have to have thick skin and you have to be able to persevere and continue to move forward, even when people don't understand what you're doing. And even when people criticize you and what you're doing. It's not easy, but if you believe in what you're doing, you have to continue moving forward. So I'm going to take a quick look at my notes here, guys. I think that's everything. Again, this was a bit of a ramble. Um, look for more interviews. Look for more money topics. I will have guests. I will have more guests here on this channel as appropriate. And I'm going to waterfall content from some of my past live streams. So you're going to see excerpts from previous live streams go up. If you notice, the Kevin Samuels live stream was my most successful live stream. I got a ton of views for obvious reasons. I made some nice coin off of that stream, but I took it down, and I understand now why content creators take certain streams down, because when I opened it up, some things were said, some super chats were made that were a little cringeworthy. But I've started cutting up my opening monologue, and I'm going to upload pieces of my opening monologue because I thought it was important to communicate why I decided to go on one of Kevin's weekends and why I thought it was important to do the consultation. And I thought it was important to talk about whether or not I think he's doing good or he's doing bad on his show every night. I will probably waterfall content on the Gray Faulkner initiative. And I'm going to, I have a piece that I'm going to upload right now I'm going to upload it shortly, discussing why Sheed, and those of you who know Sheed, he's another content creator. Sheed and I had a discussion about whether or not that stream was entitled, "Can a Single Man Find Value in the Single Mother Market?" Sheed married a woman who already had kids. And I thought it was important for us to have that discussion. When I opened it up, it went in multiple directions, and some things were said. And, but I think that little piece of what Sheed said about why he decided to marry his wife, that's very, very important for our general knowledge. So look for that. Look for excerpts like that and others to go up on my channel shortly. So everyone, with that, I'm going to stop this stream. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Please enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If you want to make a donation to the channel, that information is going to be below in the description box. And thank you to those of you who did donate via Super Chat. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.